You have felt it for a long time, that restlessness, that stirring deep inside of you. The feeling that something was always calling you, whispering in the quiet moments, urging you to look beyond what you've always known. You have seen the signs, you have heard the voice, even when the world tried to drown it out. And now here you are, watching this, not by accident, not by coincidence, but because this moment was always meant to find you. Everything that has led you here, the struggles, the setbacks, the doubts that haunted you, none of it was random. You were never meant to stay where you have been. You were never meant to settle, to shrink, to be confined by the limits others placed on you. The life you have been waiting for, the breakthrough you have longed for, it is no longer just a distant dream. It is here. It is now. And the doors that once seemed impossible to open are already shifting, already unlocking, waiting for you to step forward. There is a reason why you have never quite fit in. A reason why the world has never truly understood you. You have always known you were different, that something about you stood apart from the rest. The world tried to convince you that being different was something to be ashamed of. They tried to mold you into something smaller, something safer, something easier to accept. But deep down, you always knew the truth. You were never meant to be like them. You were chosen, set apart, destined for something greater than they could ever comprehend. And now, the time has come. The time to walk away from the life that no longer serves you. To leave behind the version of yourself that was built on fear, on doubt, on the expectations of others. That version of you no longer exists. The past has already begun to fall away, whether you realize it or not. The shift is already happening. The only question that remains is whether you are ready to step into what is waiting for you. This will not be easy. Nothing about this transformation will be comfortable. Growth never is. Change never is. But you have already endured so much. You have already walked through fire and survived. What is waiting for you on the other side of this moment is beyond anything you have ever imagined. And the only thing standing between you and that life is one decision, one choice, one step. You may feel it right now, deep in your chest, that pressure, that electricity running through your veins, that voice growing louder with every second that passes. That is not fear, that is power, that is confirmation. That is the undeniable truth that what you have been searching for has been searching for you all along. The time for waiting is over. The time for hesitation is gone. It is happening now, whether you are ready or not. The door is open. The path has been laid before you, and so the choice is yours. You can turn away, pretend you never saw the signs. Convince yourself that this was just another message, another coincidence, another moment that does not really mean anything. Or you can listen. You can trust what you already know deep inside. You can take the step that has been waiting for you since the moment you took your first breath. If you are truly chosen, if you are truly ready, you will stay until the very end. If you are truly ready to receive what has always been yours, you will not look away. Because what happens next will change everything. The door is open. Step through. You have been trapped for so long, caged by fear, held down by the voices of the world telling you what you could and could not be. You were conditioned to believe that life was meant to be endured, not lived. That suffering was your reality. That the weight of expectation, of failure, of doubt, was just part of existence. But something inside you always fought against it. Something inside you refused to accept that this was all there was. That voice inside of you, the one that whispered in the moments of silence, the one that told you there was more waiting beyond what you could see. That voice was never just your own. That voice was divine. That voice was calling you. And now, the time has come to listen. The world you have known is an illusion, a carefully crafted lie meant to keep you in place, to keep you small, to keep you doubting your own power. It was never designed for your freedom. It was designed for your containment. The people who doubted you, the systems that worked against you, the constant weight pressing down on your shoulders, they were never coincidences. They were part of the structure built to keep you from remembering who you really are. But now, that structure is crumbling, the illusions are fading, and the chains that once held you in place are no longer strong enough to contain you. You can feel it, can't you? The shift, the pull, the undeniable force dragging you towards something bigger, something greater, something real. It is not fear that you feel in this moment. It is the unraveling of everything that has ever tried to convince you that you were anything less than powerful. The discomfort, the resistance, the hesitation, that is not weakness. That is the last grip of the old world trying to keep you from leaving. You are being called now. Called to break free. Called to step beyond the limits that have been placed upon you. Called to see beyond what you have always been told and to claim the truth that has been waiting for you all along. But understand this, freedom is not given. It is taken. No one will hand you the life you are meant to live. No one will give you permission to step into your power. You must choose it. You must decide that you are done waiting, that you are done believing in the lie that tells you you are not enough, that you are done living a life that does not belong to you. You have been conditioned to doubt yourself, conditioned to believe that you are powerless, that the dreams in your heart are impossible, that you are foolish for believing that you were meant for more. That conditioning was never truth. That conditioning was fear. And now, fear is no longer strong enough to hold you back. There is a moment, a single moment in every person's life where they must choose. Choose to stay where they have always been, to remain within the walls that have confined them, to continue living the life that was chosen for them, or to break free, to step into the unknown, to walk through the door that has finally been opened. And now, that moment is here. This is your moment. The call has been given. The invitation has been placed before you. The only thing left is your decision. Will you take it? Will you leave behind everything that was never meant for you? Will you walk away from the pain, the struggle, the doubt, and the fear that have dictated your life for too long? Will you step into the truth, the power, the destiny that has been waiting for you all along? You have always known that you were meant for something greater. You have always felt that pull deep inside of you. The world tried to convince you that it was just your imagination, that it was just a dream, that it was nothing more than a foolish thought. But you knew, you always knew. And now, the universe is confirming what you have always felt. This is real. This is happening. The shift is already in motion. The only question is whether you will move with it. The door is open. The chains are broken. The only thing left to do is step through. They never wanted you to see it. They never wanted you to realize the power inside of you. From the moment you began to step outside their expectations, from the moment you started questioning the reality they fed you, the world turned against you. It tried to break you, to silence you, to make you believe that you were nothing more than what they told you to be. You have felt it, haven't you? The weight of their doubt, the judgment in their eyes, the whispers behind your back. They called you strange. They called you foolish. They laughed when you dreamed of something more, and they resented you when you refused to stay small. This was never about you being wrong. It was never about you being weak. It was about them, their fear, their insecurity, their desperate need to keep you in a place where they could understand you, where they could control you, where you would never become something greater than they could ever imagine. And for so long, you believed them. For so long, you let their words sink into your skin, shaping the way you saw yourself. You questioned your worth. You wondered if they were right. You tried to fit in. You tried to be what they wanted you to be. And every time you did, something inside of you felt like it was dying, because you were never meant to be like them. You were never meant to stay hidden. You were never meant to dim your light just to make them feel comfortable. They saw your potential before you did. They sensed something different about you, something powerful, something they could never quite understand. And instead of celebrating it, they feared it. because your existence was a reminder of everything they were too afraid to become. That is why they tried to break you. That is why they mocked you, doubted you, pushed you down every time you tried to rise. It was never about your failure. It was about their own limitations. They saw you shining, and it terrified them. They saw you growing, and it threatened them. Because if you could rise beyond the life they accepted, then what excuse did they have for staying small? And so they did everything they could to keep you in place. They poisoned your mind with doubt. They filled your heart with fear. They made you believe that you were not enough, and for a while, it worked. For a while, you allowed their voices to drown out your own. You played small. You hid your true self. You convinced yourself that maybe they were right. But deep inside, that fire never died. That small, burning ember, the one that whispered, "This is not the life you were meant for," never went out. Even in your lowest moments, even when you felt lost, even when you thought you had given up, that ember remained, and now it is ready to ignite. Because here is the truth they never wanted you to know. Everything they told you was a lie. You are not weak. You are not small. You are not unworthy. You are powerful beyond measure. You are chosen. And no amount of doubt, no amount of ridicule, no amount of resistance can change what has always been inside of you. They tried to dim your light because they could not handle its brightness. They tried to break you because they feared what would happen if you stood in your full power, but they failed. Because you are still here. You are still rising. You are still becoming the person you were always meant to be. And now it is time to let go of everything they made you believe. It is time to strip away every false story they fed you, every limitation they placed on your soul. It is time to reclaim your truth, to stand tall in your purpose, to walk away from the life that was never yours to begin with. They will not understand. They will not celebrate you. They will not cheer you on. And that is okay, because your journey is not about them. It was never about them. It is about you. It is about stepping fully into your destiny, knowing that you no longer need their validation, knowing that their fear is not yours to carry. The world tried to dim your light, but now it is time to shine so brightly that they have no choice but to watch in silence. You are no longer who you once were. The things that once held you back no longer carry weight. The fears that once dictated your life no longer have a voice. The world that tried to define you, to control you, to keep you in place, it is fading. And now, a new reality is beginning to take shape. This is the shift. For so long, you have lived in a world built on limitation, a world that told you what was possible and what was not, a world that tried to convince you that you were bound by the rules of those who came before you. But that world is no longer yours, because something inside of you has awakened, and now you see it for what it is, a construct, a fragile illusion designed to keep you in place, a carefully crafted reality meant to convince you that you were powerless. But now, the illusion is breaking, and as it shatters, something extraordinary is being revealed. You are stepping into a new dimension. This is not just a metaphor. It is not just an idea. It is real. You can feel it, can't you? The energy shifting, the old reality slipping away, the sense that something greater, something beyond anything you have ever known, is calling you forward. And now you stand at the threshold. A choice lies before you. You can remain where you have always been, tied to the life that was chosen for you, bound by the limits of the world that never truly saw you. Or you can step through the door that has been opened, the door leading to a new reality, a new way of being, a life where the impossible no longer exists. This is what they never wanted you to know, that this world, the world you were given, was never the only one, that there has always been something greater waiting beyond the veil of what you have been taught. That the things you dreamed of, the visions that flashed through your mind in the quiet moments, the feeling that you were meant for something more, it was all real. And now, you are being given the chance to step into it. But understand this, the shift is not gentle. It will shake you. It will challenge you. It will strip away every illusion, every false belief, every piece of you that was never truly yours. It will demand that you release everything you once held on to, because in order to rise, you must let go. Let go of the identity they gave you. Let go of the story they wrote for you. Let go of the past, the pain, the doubt that has kept you tethered to a world that no longer serves you. This is the moment of transformation, the moment where everything you have ever known begins to shift. The moment where the old world dissolves and the new one begins to take shape. And the only thing left to decide is, are you ready? Because once you step through, there is no going back. Once you awaken, you cannot unsee the truth. Once you enter the higher dimension, you will never again fit into the world you are leaving behind. This is why so many fear the shift, because it requires a level of surrender that few are willing to embrace. It requires faith, trust, the courage to walk into the unknown without looking back. But you were never meant to stay behind. You were never meant to live a life dictated by fear. You were never meant to be anything less than extraordinary. And so, the time has come. Step forward. Cross the threshold. Let the old world fade into nothing, because the new reality is already waiting, and you were always meant to enter it. For so long you have lived under a lie. You have been told what you are allowed to be, how far you are allowed to go. You have been given a name, a role, a life that was never yours to begin with, and you accepted it. Not because you were weak, but because that is what you were taught. You were taught to obey, to conform, to silence the voice inside of you that whispered of something greater. You were taught that power belonged to others, that destiny was something written in ink long before you arrived, that your place had already been decided, and that questioning it was a waste of time. But now the illusion has shattered. You see it clearly, don't you? The way the world has tried to contain you, the way they have convinced you that you are powerless when, in truth, you are anything but. You were never small. You were never weak. You were never meant to live in the shadows of others. You were always meant to rise, and now you feel it, the shift, the power, the truth that has been buried beneath years of conditioning, of fear, of carefully constructed lies. It is waking up. It has always been there. It has always been waiting. But now, for the first time, you are ready to claim it. This is the moment of your awakening. It is not gentle. It is not comfortable. It is fire. It is a force so undeniable that it shakes the very foundation of everything. You thought you knew. You can feel it in your chest, in your bones, in the spaces between your thoughts. It is calling you forward, demanding that you no longer hide, that you no longer accept a version of yourself that was built to keep you in place. You are powerful beyond measure. You are not meant to live in fear. You are not meant to ask for permission. You are not meant to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. And now, the moment has come to embrace what has always been yours. Step into it. Step into the fullness of your power, without hesitation, without doubt, without fear. Let go of the version of yourself that was made to be controlled, and step into the version that was made to be free. Because freedom is not something you are given. It is something you take. It is something you claim. It is something that has always belonged to you, but that you must now be willing to step into fully. And as you do, everything will change. The way you see yourself, the way you move, the way the world responds to you. They will sense it. They will feel it. Some will be afraid. Some will try to pull you back. Some will whisper that you are changing too much, moving too fast, stepping too far beyond the world they understand. Let them, because you are not here to live according to their fears. You are not here to make them comfortable. You are here to become everything you were always meant to be, and nothing will stop you now. You have come this far. You have seen the illusion for what it is. You have walked through. The fire, broken through the chains, shattered every lie that was ever placed upon you. And now, you stand at the edge of something far greater than you ever imagined. But there is one final test. This is not a test of your strength. You have already proven that. It is not a test of your endurance. You have already endured more than most could ever bear. This is a test of your will, because knowing the truth is not enough. Seeing the world for what it truly is, feeling the power that has always been inside you, that is only the beginning. Now, the choice is yours. Will you step forward or will you turn back? Because this is the moment where most fail. This is where many hesitate, where they feel the weight of what is being asked of them and decide that it is too much. Because stepping into your power is not just about knowing who you are, it is about accepting the responsibility that comes with it, and that responsibility is immense. Because once you step fully into your destiny, there is no turning back. You will not be able to return to the life you once knew, to the comforts of ignorance, to the safety of pretending you are less than what you are. You will not be able to blend in, to make yourself small, to pretend that you do not see what you now see. You will have to walk a path that many will not understand. You will have to stand alone at times in the face of those who still choose to live in the shadows. You will have to hold your power with conviction, even when the world tells you to let it go. And that is why so many turn back, because stepping into your true self means leaving behind everything that is not aligned with it. It means walking away from the people who refuse to see you for who you truly are. It means letting go of the doubts, the fears, the voices that try to convince you that you are not ready. But here is the truth. You are ready. You were always ready. The fear that lingers in your mind is not your own. It was given to you by a world that never wanted you to realize how powerful you truly are. But now, that world no longer has control over you, and so the question remains, will you accept your destiny? Not just in thought, not just in hope, but in action. Will you take the final step? Because this is the threshold. This is the line between the life you were given and the life you were meant for. And once you cross it, there is no going back. But if you do, if you find the courage to step forward, you will understand something that those who remain behind never will. You will understand what it means to be truly free, because power is not something that is given to you. It is something that you claim. And now, it is time. Step forward, accept what has always been yours, and never look back. You have walked the path. You have seen the truth. You have stood at the edge of everything you once knew and made the choice to step forward. And now, there is no going back, because you are no longer who you once were. You do not move through the world as you once did, weighed down by doubt, by fear, by the voices that tried to convince you that you were not enough. You do not shrink. You do not hesitate. You do not ask for permission. You are, and that alone is enough to change everything. But here is where most get it wrong. They think that transformation is an ending, that once you have awakened, once you have stepped into your power, the journey is complete. But you know the truth. This is not the end. This is where it all begins, because power is not something you hold for yourself. It is not something you keep. Hidden, locked away, safe from the world. Power is meant to be used, and the world needs yours. Look around. Do you see it? The ones who are still asleep, still trapped, still waiting for something, anything, to wake them up. They do not know what you know. They do not see what you see. They have not yet felt what you have felt. And that is why you cannot. Stay silent, because you were never meant to rise alone. This journey was never just for you. It was always about something greater. It was always about them, the ones who are still searching, the ones who are still lost, the ones who feel the pull, but do not yet know what it means. You are their proof. You are the sign they have been waiting for. And now it is time to be that sign, not through words, not through empty promises, through action, because the only thing more powerful than knowing the truth is living it. And now, that is your responsibility, to step forward fully, to take up space, to be seen, to be the light in a world that has spent far too long in the dark, to lead, not by force but by example, to show them what is possible, what is waiting for them when they finally choose to break free. This is the calling This is what it means to leave a lasting impact, because when you rise, others rise with you. When you live in your power, you give them permission to do the same. When you walk forward without fear, you show them that it is possible. And that is how the world changes, not through grand speeches, not through revolutions built on empty words, through the quiet, unstoppable force of one person choosing to live differently. And that person is you. So now, the final choice is yours. Will you live what you have learned? Will you take what you now know and let it shape everything you do? Will you rise, not just today, not just for this moment, but every single day forward? Because this is where it begins. This is where you stop searching, stop waiting, stop questioning. This is where you become, and the world will never be the same again.